Viewer advisory. The events you are about to witness are based on a true story. Some scenes may be deeply unsettling for certain audiences. Viewer discretion is strongly recommended. The phone call came at 2:47 p.m. on that Tuesday afternoon, and it would be the last time Cordelia would ever hear her daughter's voice. "Mama, we had a fight." Augusta's trembling words cut through the receiver like shattered glass. "Benjamin and we argued about something, and I don't know what to do." There was something different in her daughter's voice, a raw terror that no amount of designer bags or luxury vacations could mask. 48 hours later, Cordelia would discover her 21-year-old daughter's mutilated body in a pool of crimson blood, while outside, a gleaming Mercedes-Benz C300 sat parked, the birthday gift that had sealed Augusta's fate. She was living like a princess, but her prince was planning her murder. Have you ever ignored red flags because someone showered you with gifts? Augusta Ashton did. Private jets, shopping sprees, designer bags. Benjamin Best gave her everything money could buy. Their Instagram posts showed the perfect couple living their best life. But behind those lavish vacations and expensive presents, a toxic relationship was destroying a young woman's life. When Benjamin couldn't control Augusta anymore, he would confess his crime to the world through Instagram stories that shocked an entire nation. Tonight's story is one that will leave you rattled. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe, give this video a like, and tell us in the comments where in the world you're tuning in from. Now, let's begin. Augusta Ashton was born on February 3rd, 2002, in the bustling heart of Lagos, Nigeria. At just 21 years old, she had already carved out her own slice of success, commanding the attention of over 120,000 Instagram followers who hung on her every post. She wasn't just another pretty face on social media. Augusta was a student at Leeds City University, brilliantly balancing her academic pursuits with her growing influence in Nigeria's fashion scene. Her relationship with her mother, Cordelia, was extraordinary. They weren't just mother and daughter. They were genuine best friends who shared everything. Augusta would call her mom about outfit choices, relationship advice, and her biggest dreams. She was sweet, intelligent, and had this magnetic personality that drew people to her like moths to a flame. Augusta dreamed of building a fashion empire, of becoming a household name across West Africa, of living the kind of life that would make her family proud. Then came Benjamin Best. At 26, he seemed like everything a young woman could want. He was a successful blockchain developer and cryptocurrency enthusiast who understood the digital world Augusta lived in. His Instagram handle had its own massive following, and when these two social media powerhouses connected, it felt like destiny. Their chemistry was instant and electric. Benjamin didn't just date Augusta, he worshipped her. Every photo they posted together screamed couple goals to their combined hundreds of thousands of followers. They became Lagos' most enviable pair, the kind of couple that made other women whisper, "I want what they have." Benjamin spared no expense when it came to Augusta. Private jets whisked them away to romantic destinations across Africa. He took her on shopping sprees through Lagos' most exclusive boutiques, where money seemed to be no object. They dined at the finest restaurants, where Benjamin would order the most expensive items on the menu just to see Augusta smile. But the ultimate symbol of his devotion came on Augusta's birthday, a brand new Mercedes-Benz C300. The gleaming luxury car represented everything their relationship had become: beautiful, expensive, and absolutely perfect for Instagram. Every post painted their love story as a modern fairy tale. Augusta glowed in every photo, her happiness radiating through the screen to her followers who lived vicariously through her glamorous life. But perfection, especially the kind displayed on social media, often masks a very different reality. What looked like unconditional love was actually the beginning of something far more dangerous: a carefully constructed prison made of designer gifts and public displays of affection. Augusta thought she had found her prince. She had no idea she was dating her executioner. The first signs appeared subtly. Benjamin would question Augusta about her male followers on Instagram. "Who is this guy commenting on your photos?" he'd ask, his voice carrying an edge that made her stomach flutter with unease. What started as playful jealousy gradually transformed into interrogations about her whereabouts, her friends, even her family conversations. Augusta's closest friends began noticing changes. She'd cancel plans at the last minute, claiming Benjamin had surprised her with another lavish date. Her responses to group chats became shorter, less frequent. When they did see her, she seemed distracted, constantly checking her phone for his messages. "I need to know you're safe," Benjamin would text her hourly. "Send me a photo so I know where you are." Augusta mistook this obsessive monitoring for love. She told herself that a man who cared this much, who spent this much money on her, couldn't possibly be anything but devoted. The cryptocurrency world Benjamin inhabited was ruthless and volatile. Fortunes vanished overnight. The pressure to maintain his image as a successful blockchain developer was crushing him. When his investments failed, when deals collapsed, Augusta became his emotional punching bag. He'd explode over minor issues. A late response to his text, a photo she posted without his approval, even her natural smile seeming too bright for other men. After each outburst, Benjamin would flood Augusta with apologies and expensive gifts. A new handbag after he screamed at her for talking to a classmate. Diamond earrings following a night where he'd grab her arm too tightly. Augusta began walking on eggshells, analyzing every word before speaking, every outfit before wearing it. The cycle was intoxicating and destructive. Benjamin would create tension through criticism and control, explode in anger, then shower her with remorse and luxury. Augusta learned to treasure the calm periods, believing each storm was the last one. Abusers weaponize generosity to create dependency. Every gift becomes a chain, every favor a debt. The victim begins believing they owe their abuser gratitude, even for basic kindness. Benjamin began isolating Augusta systematically. He'd create conflicts with her friends, claiming they were jealous of their relationship. He'd suggest she skip family gatherings because he had planned something special. Slowly, Augusta's world shrunk to just him and the golden cage he'd constructed around her. By July 2023, Augusta was trapped in a relationship that looked perfect from the outside, but was suffocating her from within. Every gift came with invisible strings attached. The Mercedes-Benz wasn't just a car. It was a symbol of ownership. The designer clothes weren't just fashion. They were a uniform for the role he'd assigned her. Augusta was living in a golden cage, and the door was about to slam shut forever. That final phone call to her mother revealed the truth. The fight had been intense. Benjamin had become someone she didn't recognize. She was scared to go home, scared to stay. "Mama, I don't think this can be fixed," she whispered before the line went dead. For the next 48 hours, Cordelia lived in a mother's worst nightmare. Her calls to Augusta went straight to voicemail. Text messages remained unread. When Cordelia finally reached Benjamin's phone on July 12th, his voice was cold, mechanical. "She's fine," he said curtly. "Just give her some space." But Cordelia knew her daughter. Augusta never went this long without contact. By July 13th, panic had fully set in. Cordelia reached out to Augusta's roommate, Peace, who hadn't heard from her either. The two women made a decision that would change everything. They would go to Benjamin's apartment. Upon their arrival, they found Augusta's Mercedes-Benz C300 sitting in the parking space like a monument to broken promises. "Her car is here," Peace whispered. "So where is she?" The Lagos State Police arrived within 20 minutes of Cordelia's frantic call. Officer Adebayo took one look at the worried mother and knew this wasn't a simple domestic dispute. The apartment door swung open, and the smell hit them immediately. Thick, cloying, unmistakable. What they found inside would make headlines across Nigeria and beyond. Augusta's body lay in the living room, her life stolen in the most brutal way imaginable. The violence was overwhelming. This wasn't a crime of passion or a moment of temporary madness. This was something far more calculated, far more vicious. The evidence told a story of struggle and terror. But perhaps the most chilling discovery was a handwritten note, left conspicuously on the coffee table. By evening, news of Augusta's death had spread through Lagos like wildfire. The same social media platforms that had celebrated her luxury lifestyle now mourned her tragic end. The contrast was devastating. Just days earlier, Augusta had posted photos from a high-end restaurant, smiling and radiant. Now, those same images took on a haunting quality. But Benjamin Best was nowhere to be found. While Augusta's body lay decomposing in that Lagos apartment, Benjamin Best made a decision that would cement his place in Nigeria's criminal history. Instead of turning himself in, instead of showing genuine remorse, he chose to confess his crime on Instagram, turning murder into content. On July 17, 2023, Benjamin began posting a series of Instagram stories that would be screenshot and shared millions of times across Africa. "I got into an argument with my girlfriend," he wrote, his words appearing in white text against a black background. "During the fight, I mistakenly stabbed her and ran away out of fear." Mistakenly stabbed her. Those 3 words would haunt everyone who read them. You don't mistakenly stab someone. You don't mistakenly mutilate a body. You don't mistakenly destroy the person you claim to love. Post after post continued to appear, each one more disturbing than the last. "I don't intend to end myself because I have lost the one I cherish so much," he wrote, somehow making himself a victim in his own confession. The manipulation was breathtaking. Here was a man who had just committed one of the most heinous crimes Nigeria had seen, and he was asking for sympathy. Within hours, Nigeria exploded. The hashtag Justice for Augusta began trending across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Screenshots of Benjamin's confession spread faster than wildfire. The audacity of confessing to murder on social media while painting yourself as the victim was unprecedented. But while Nigeria raged, Benjamin Best was already gone. His Instagram posts weren't just a confession, they were a distraction. While the country focused on his words, he was busy disappearing. The cryptocurrency fortune he'd flaunted on social media was now funding his escape route. $25,000. That's what it cost to disappear completely. Benjamin contacted underground networks that specialized in creating new identities for those willing to pay the price. Within 48 hours of Augusta's body being discovered, Benjamin Best ceased to exist on paper. Enter his new identity, a Sierra Leonean citizen with a pristine passport, clean background, and no criminal record. The transformation was meticulous. New documents, new backstory, new life. Benjamin had studied the process of identity theft for months, using his cryptocurrency connections to fund the operation through untraceable transactions. In Freetown, Sierra Leone's capital, Benjamin established himself as a quiet businessman, avoiding social media entirely and keeping a low profile. But October 2023 brought what seemed like divine intervention for Augusta's family. A tip from an informant led Sierra Leonean authorities to a nightclub in Freetown. Benjamin had made a critical error. He attended a party where someone recognized him despite his disguise. The arrest was swift and coordinated. Cordelia received the phone call she had prayed for. Her daughter's killer was in custody. The relief was overwhelming. Finally, justice seemed within reach. Nigerian authorities immediately began extradition proceedings, confident that Benjamin would face trial within weeks. November 15, 2023, changed everything. A coordinated attack on the Sierra Leonean detention facility resulted in the escape of 17 prisoners, including Benjamin Best. The security breach was catastrophic. Benjamin's escape wasn't random. Intelligence later revealed that he had maintained contact with criminal networks who orchestrated the breakout. Cordelia's world collapsed again. The family's hope transformed into rage and desperation. For the next 14 months, Benjamin Best became a ghost. Intelligence reports placed him in Ghana, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. He moved constantly, never staying in one location for more than a few weeks. By mid-2024, leads had dried up. False sightings wasted resources and manpower. Augusta's family watched their hopes fade with each passing month. Cordelia aged visibly, the stress of endless waiting taking its toll. January 2025 brought the breakthrough Augusta's family had prayed for. Intelligence agencies tracked Benjamin Best to Qatar, where he'd been living comfortably under yet another stolen identity. For months, Benjamin thought he'd outsmarted international law enforcement. But every digital footprint, every transaction, every moment of comfort was building the case against him. The moment came swiftly. Qatari police, coordinating with international teams, surrounded Benjamin at a luxury hotel where he'd been staying. When confronted, Benjamin attempted to maintain his false identity, presenting his fake passport with the same confidence he'd once shown Augusta's family. But technology doesn't lie. The evidence was overwhelming. His fingerprints matched those on file with Nigerian authorities. His facial features, despite attempts to alter his appearance, confirmed his identity. The cryptocurrency transactions he'd used to fund his escape had left an electronic trail that investigators followed across 3 continents. Qatar's legal system moved efficiently. Nigeria's formal extradition request arrived within days. Benjamin's legal team attempted to fight the removal, but their arguments fell on deaf ears. By April 2025, Benjamin Best was aboard a flight to Lagos, escorted by international security personnel. The 2-year chase across West Africa and the Middle East had finally ended. The phone call Cordelia had been waiting for finally came. Through tears of relief and exhaustion, Augusta's mother learned that justice was finally within reach. The victory felt bittersweet. Augusta wouldn't be there to see justice served, but her family's relentless pursuit had paid off. The Lagos State High Court had never seen anything quite like it. July 2025 brought Benjamin Best face-to-face with the justice system he had evaded for 2 years. Shackled and flanked by armed guards, the man who once flaunted wealth on Instagram now stood before Judge Adebayo Moronkeji, charged with first-degree murder, mutilation of a corpse, and destruction of evidence. His legal team entered a plea of not guilty by reason of temporary insanity, but the evidence was overwhelming. The Instagram confession, the forensic evidence, the premeditated nature of his escape. Everything pointed to a calculated killer, not a man who had temporarily lost his mind. The prosecution, led by the Lagos State Attorney General, presented a case that left no room for doubt. Witness after witness testified to Benjamin's controlling behavior. Digital forensics experts walked the court through his elaborate escape plan. Augusta's friends and family painted a picture of a young woman trapped in a golden cage. When Cordelia took the stand, her testimony brought the courtroom to tears. She described her daughter's final phone call, the fear in Augusta's voice, the 48 hours of silence that followed. "He didn't just take my daughter's life," she said, her voice steady despite her tears. "He took my best friend, my future, my everything." The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. When they returned, their verdict was unanimous: guilty on all counts. Judge Moronkeji's sentence was swift and final: death by hanging for the murder of Augusta Ashton. As Benjamin Best was led away in shackles, Cordelia felt something she hadn't experienced in 2 years: peace. Justice had finally been served. Augusta's story would live on as a warning to other young women about the dangers of confusing control with love, of mistaking expensive gifts for genuine affection. Outside the courthouse, hundreds of supporters who had followed the case for 2 years cheered as news of the verdict spread. The hashtag Justice for Augusta trended once again, but this time it carried a message of victory rather than despair. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you haven't already, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We upload new true crime content daily, covering cases you know and many you don't. Stick with us as we bring you more stories that deserve to be heard. See you in the next video.